I'm Dr. Anthea Todd, and this is What's My Body Telling Me? If you've ever felt like something's off, but your tests say you're fine, or you keep ending up in the same patterns with no clear reason, you're not broken. You're just not listening in a way your body needs. Here, we do things differently. I'll show you how to tune into your body, not your bias, and understand your symptoms to reconnect to the health that actually feels good for you and your life. Because your body isn't the problem, it's the solution. And your journey starts by asking one question: what is my body telling me? Ready to listen differently? Let's begin. Hello! Welcome back to the What's My Body Telling Me podcast. On today's episode, I wanted to share with you my journey with my skin. And I want this episode to get out to the people that are struggling with their skin at the moment, because I just want to start with this. I was in your position, and I would see people go on social media, talk about it on podcasts, and be like, I was in your position and it does get better and you need to do X, Y, Z different things. And I was hopeful, but I actually really didn't think that it was going to happen to me. My skin and acne was so debilitating to my soul, and it was the thing that consumed most of my thoughts, and it just felt so out of control that I was in despair. I literally didn't think that it was possible for me to not have skin issues. And every single person around me, all of my friends and family, all I would focus on is how amazing their skin is, and they're not doing anything for it. Or I would do the same things as them and my skin would still be an issue. And I'd have a lot of jealousy and envy, being, I just wish my skin would be like that. And I would see a lot of people put up pre and post things on their social media. I didn't even want to take any pre things off my skin because I didn't have the belief that it would get any better. I'm like, why would I take it now? Because I'm not going to have any posts of great skin to compare it to. So if this is how you are feeling, or if you know someone that is struggling with their skin at the moment, particularly hormonal acne, that's what we're talking about today, send this to them, because I want you to know that every journey is different. This is mine. And it's helpful to everyone because I've lived it. And also it's unique because I also studied across the medical, the functional, the energetic. I understand it from a lived experience and the trial and error, but also from a physiological standpoint as well as an energetic of what's actually really going on with your body. What is your body trying to tell you with your skin issues? So let's go back to where it first started. Back in high school, where most people get skin issues, because this is where we get our menstrual cycle as women. And by the way, in this episode, I'm talking about women. We can talk about men in another episode, but this is solely for women that experience acne. I didn't get any issues in high school. No fluctuations in my skin. I think the only thing I can remember about high school and my skin is those proactive ads. And I did a little bit of a Google. I'm like, who was the celebrity? It was like Jessica Simpson. I think Justin Bieber was on some of them. Kendall Jenner recently. Proactive is still a thing around, but there used to be all those infomercials that were on the TV when we used to watch TV instead of Netflix and Stan and Binge and all of the different streaming services. So I remember getting Proactive, but it wasn't for a skin issue. It was just like, oh, everyone is, and it's like on the TV. So it was very much influenced by the ads. And I think maybe my older sister was using it, but again, she didn't really have skin issues at that time either. And then I went to university and I was drinking a lot, having lots of fun with friends, loving what I was studying. And yeah, it was stressful at times, and I also wasn't really looking after my fundamentals. And if you don't know what I'm talking about with the fundamentals, go back to the first episode of the podcast where we talk about that. And also you would have surely heard me harp on about it. But if this is your first interaction with us, you need to look into the fundamentals. Trust me on that. So I was drinking alcohol. I wasn't sleeping or having my sleep routine perfectly. I wasn't doing supplements or detoxes or lymphatic drainage, gua sha, skincare routines. I had none of it. Nothing. I wasn't really paying attention to it. I never really put sunscreen on. I didn't really wear makeup unless I was going out for a ball or an event or dinner or something. My skin was fine. I look back at photos, I'm like, I didn't have like any blemishes on my skin. And if I go back, I'm like, when did it actually start? And it started when I started working as a chiropractor. And that was back, I saw my first patient at the very end of 2017. And I didn't notice anything. It was probably 6 months in that I was like, oh, I started getting this cystic, painful, under the skin acne around the jawline, around my cheeks, around the ears, on my neck, started to come on my back. I was like, what the hell is going on? And around the same time in 2018, obviously I'm seeing a lot of patients. I'd be seeing around 30 or 40 patients, sometimes 60 to 80, depending on the day. And as a health practitioner, you are hearing people come to you with all the different sort of trends that are happening, going, should I be doing this? Or I've started doing this and I feel better, I feel worse, or my friend's doing this, what do you think? And also you are seeing that amount of people and you're doing your absolute best to get to the bottom of what's actually happening with them, whether it's they're coming in with back pain, headaches, or maybe the digestion's poor, their sleep's poor, their menstrual cycle's doing something, their skin's doing something. It's always, and for me, it has always been, what is the body trying to tell us? Let's try and get to the bottom of it. But around 2018 is when the Fast 800 book was launched, and that's by Michael Mosley. Unfortunately, he's passed away now, tragically. But a lot of people were starting to do fasting and intermittent fasting. So I was like, oh, this seems like a great idea to do. I'm going to start doing it. So I started doing intermittent fasting. There was more people sort of talking about it. I would do it in a way that it was timed. So I would not have breakfast. I'd wait till I get home from lunch in my lunch break. So I'd eat around 12:30 and then I would have my dinner at around 7 and then I wouldn't eat until 12:30 again the next day. However, I wasn't doing it correctly, I would say, and I was hungry. So I wasn't fueling my body with the fats and proteins at the appropriate level that it needed. And also I found myself eating 2 lunches pretty much because I was thinking, how am I going to get through this next 5 hours of patients? Because I want to show up as best I can for them, but I'm exhausted. Like I was tired. And I wanted to work as a chiropractor. I wanted to do it my whole life from when I was 4 years old. Both my parents are. I see how much they love what they do and how much they've changed people's lives. I'm like, this seems cool. You can have a great work-life balance. You can earn great money. You can help people. You love what you do. That's the jackpot, right? I want to do that. So that's what I was doing, but my body was screaming at me that it didn't like how I was going about it. So I look back at photos now and I don't weigh myself. I never really have. Occasionally I do. And I look back at photos, I'm like, oh, wow, I can see that my whole face shape changed. It was a lot puffier. I probably gained, I don't know, probably 5 to 8 kilos, I'm guessing. And my skin was playing up. And I was also working a second job with my dad, who he actually has a book called Sympathetic Dominance Protocol, or SD Protocol. And I was training practitioners on the sympathetic nervous system, how to do specific adjustments, how to alter different parts of lifestyle, how to help patients. So I was helping my dad train practitioners around the world with that. And I was doing all the things that I thought I needed to do for my nervous system to help me. But I was also exhausted. I also had moved home, so I was around work all the time. I was living with my parents who were running both of the businesses, so it was like 10 o'clock at night, I'd get a knock on my door and it would be my dad asking me a question about how to fix an email, how to fix a tech thing, because, you know, Parents sometimes of that generation don't know how to do that. So I was the go-to person at all hours of the night and day. So looking back now, I didn't think I was stressed. I thought I was doing what I was called to do or what I've always wanted to do. But the way I was going about it was leading me to burnout. And my skin was flaring up. Now we're going to come back to the skin and energetics of what that might mean, but I just want you to hold this example in your mind. I was doing so much and I was doing a lot of what I probably didn't want to do and how I was going about it. I didn't really have any boundaries. So just remember that for later on. Then I was like, no, stuff this. I'm going to go to London. I'm going to move to London and get out in the big wide world, see what's happening over there and go work there for 2 years on a working visa. Explore the world. I'm so excited. Nerve-wracking, but excited. Moved over, start of 2020. What happens? COVID hits. I get to travel around a little bit, meet some amazing people, have some of the best experiences of my life, but ultimately come back after 5-6 months. And obviously that's a stressful time for everyone. When I was in London, we were drinking and partying a lot, and the lifestyle wasn't great. I was sleeping on my friend's couch for 7 weeks and my skin had gotten slightly better. My weight and puffiness didn't, because I wasn't treating my body very well at all in terms of the fundamentals, but my skin got better, which is interesting to note. And this, when you're listening to this, I want you to think about your journey with your skin. And I'm sure you already have, but sometimes just thinking about it out loud or listening to someone else go, oh, that actually is what happened with me, or writing it down can be really, really helpful. One thing I do want to say, before I went away to the UK and I was working back home in country Victoria as a chiropractor, yes, I did the 800 fasting for probably 3 or 4 months. And I also was doing a lot of IgG, food sensitivity blood testing on patients. So obviously I was doing it on myself, and I was cut out dairy. I cut out gluten. I cut out alcohol. I cut out the things that showed up on my test that are also things that often people say you need to cut out these foods because that's going to help your skin. I did all of those things, didn't help. So I tried that. I tried the fasting. I was like, all right, I'm going to change my lifestyle. I'm literally going to move across the world. Did that. World had other plans, moved back. And at that point, I was living between 2 locations in Victoria. And I was working a little bit with my parents back at that same clinic. And I'd started studying my master's in women's health medicine, because I was like, I want to get to the bottom of this, but also I want to get to the bottom of all the issues that my patients have been facing. And I feel like they're not getting any answers. And I'm not getting any answers with what's going on. So I learned a lot with that. And in that time, shortly after, I actually moved to Newcastle, and I was working there, living with one of my best friends, loving life, being near the ocean. And my skin was bad, like really bad, painful cystic acne around the jawline. And I was trying all of the different skincare. As I'd come back, I think in COVID, some people just went wild with skincare, or it seemed like all of my friends did. I think I remember spending over $1,000 on an online Mecca shopping spree. One of my friends who had the most amazing skin, I think part of that is genetics, but also she's like, oh, use all this different skincare. It's amazing. Like, if you could use the best one, this is the one that I would get. And I'm like, you know what? I'm so sick of this. I'm going to spend as much money as I need to get rid of this. I just can't do it anymore. And I'd seen dermatologists and they're like, oh, use this antibiotic cream, use this high dose prescription vitamin A. All of it, no, didn't work. Went through the whole purging thing, still didn't work. And I was like, okay, well, I want to go and get some blood tests because I might have this thing called polycystic ovarian syndrome. So I went to the doctor, got some blood tests taken, also went and had an internal ultrasound to view the ovaries and see whether there was cysts growing on there. And blood test came back, normal, no issues. So what they're looking for on a blood test is, well, what's happening with your androgen levels, so your testosterone, because the testosterone can actually be, what I was learning is it can build up the oil and also the hormone, which is called DHT. It's a type of the testosterone or androgen that creates the oil and the sebum in and around your face, around that jawline, that builds up into hormonal acne, and it could clog the pores, and then bacteria builds up, and then all of a sudden, lo and behold, you get this acne. And I also was noticing that I started to get darker hairs around the chin as well. I thought, oh, okay, surely there's a hormonal aspect to this. I'm learning about it. I want to get to the bottom of it. I go and do the tests. They say, no, it's within normal. Everything's fine. You don't have any cysts on your ovaries. You don't meet the parameters for polycystic ovarian syndrome. Like, there's nothing really to do. You just need to focus on your skincare. Go to a dermatologist. Again, do the same thing. No answers. I would go back and see my sister, who was studying to be a chiropractor as well at the student clinic, and they had Chinese medicine and acupuncturists there. And I'd see them. They'd do Chinese medicine and acupuncture. No benefit. No change to my skin. I feel like I would wish, and I'd be like, oh, maybe it is a little bit better. But I would always have that, oh, I don't trust that my skin is resilient. I don't trust that, oh my gosh, I don't have anything on my skin. Or, oh, look, I do, but it's not red and inflamed. But I wouldn't think that's my baseline. I'd think that was a fluke. That was always what the thought was in my head. Time for a body break. This isn't just a moment to skip, it's a moment to connect, especially if what we've been chatting about has stirred something up. Take a breath in and place a hand over your heart. And breathing out, connect to the beat underneath your hand. Can you feel it? This is your body's way of saying, I'm here and I've got you. And at that time, I was working full-time and studying full-time the master's, and an opportunity came about for me to work 1 month and then not the next alongside my dad. So I decided to do that, move back to Victoria, live between two places. And I still noticed, still had the acne, still had the flare-ups, was really debilitating with my mindset at the time. And some things happened in my personal life, unfortunately, where there was a fallout with a whole group of friends, and it was an extremely stressful time for me. COVID was still happening. There was a lot of stress happening for everyone. And I was like, well, it's probably just stress. I'm doing everything that I can. And I joined this online coaching group. And I got put in touch with Pixie, who, if any of you have done any of the resources in our app, or you've tried the free body trust hypnosis, that is Pixie recording that. She is amazing. Anyone I know who has worked with her loves it. And I have been working with her now for about 2 and a bit years on and off. And we were working through a lot of different energetic beliefs, and she's a kinesiologist, so we were doing it online and we're releasing from a kinesiology standpoint, and being okay with being seen, with boundaries, with people pleasing, with all the stuff that shows up with skin. And we were also diving into a lot of different patterns from childhood, and yeah, we don't need to get into all the nitty gritty details. We're not bringing Diddy into this conversation, although on my researching, he was unfortunately an ambassador for Proactive, which obviously doesn't age well. So I'd moved back. I was in Victoria. I was living between two places. I was studying pretty much part-time, working part-time. And then I'd also taken on the second master's at the same time. And one of the months, I was like, you know what? This month I'm going to see the sunrise every day. I'm just going to commit to seeing the sunrise. And I was in Torquay, which is in Geelong, or near Geelong in Victoria. It was winter time, but I'd found this amazing yoga Pilates hot workout space. I was like, awesome. I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to go for a walk on the beach and go in the cold water. This was before like hot cold therapy was really in vogue. At the moment it is. But I was just like, I just feel like that's what I want to do. I don't necessarily know why. No one else is doing like a sunrise challenge. I just feel like that's what I need to do. I was listening to my body probably for the first time in a really long time. And I started doing that. And at that time, just beforehand, or just afterwards, sorry, was my first in-person practitioner training that I was putting together for a whole host of different chiropractors, osteopath, exercise physiologists. And my skin was amazing. I remember the night before my mum had flown in and my sister was there, and it's like, my skin is amazing. And I was like celebrating, and they were celebrating because they knew how debilitated I was by it. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm getting up on stage for this practitioner training. And who would I be to be up here telling people how to listen to the body, how to link all of the dots, how to understand what's going on hormonally with their patients, if my skin is disgusting? Like, I literally would look in the mirror and feel disgusted. But I distinctly remember in that hotel room going, oh my gosh, like, I actually am loving my skin at the moment. And it's not until recently, when now I understand the power of your light environment and sunlight, and sometimes cold therapy on the mitochondria and cleaning up inflammation in your body and generating energy, I'm like, oh, no wonder my skin was better at that time. But I didn't really know what to put it down to, because let me tell you, I thought stress was my trigger solely because at that time I had the 3 days before that seminar, putting it all together and still studying and working and doing all the things, I had like thumping, throbbing pain in my flank, which is a sign that your adrenal glands are like, help, you need to stop. So I remember my mum calling me, and I was like, I'm so excited for this, but I am running on empty. So in terms of stress levels, I was like, well, this is weird. I remember thinking, that's weird. I thought stress was my main thing, but my skin is clear, but I know I'm stressed and exhausted. This is strange. So that was just something that I thought in the back of my mind. And also at that time, just prior to that, I'd done my first hair test. And what had come back was, you've got extremely high levels of copper, and my zinc levels were depleted. I knew that zinc was beneficial. They talk about saw palmetto, zinc, B vitamins to help with polycystic ovarian syndrome. Even though I didn't meet the parameters for the diagnosis, I thought, well, I've definitely got hormonal-based acne that's happening. I should be doing that. I'll do courses on it. I was doing all the things. But the thing I didn't look at on my hair test was, it's just the copper. I'll do vitamin C infusions. I'll pump myself full of zinc. I'll do the adrenal stuff. Yeah. But what I really didn't acknowledge is how stressful my baseline was, how stressful the pace of my life and everything that I was doing was, which you might be listening to this and going, well, nada. Like, have you just listened to everything you just said? You were working full-time, studying full-time, putting together a training. You'd moved a lot. You'd experienced some heartbreak and grief over loss of relationships. You've had to move. Saying that all out loud, it's like, yeah, of course, you would imagine that person would be under some stress. But I didn't think necessarily that I was, or that it wasn't something that I was able to handle, because I was like, it's not that bad compared to more area of my life that I've experienced before. So this is where comparison and your baseline elevating can play tricks on you. But sometimes it's nice to just take yourself out of the equation and just write the facts of what's been going on down and go, if I saw that on a screen and it was a different character, how would I think that character would feel and what would be going on with them? And it's like, they're probably quite stressed. They're probably burnt out. That is something that can be really helpful when you're trying to listen to that inside of you, because I saw it everywhere. I saw it all on my functional tests, on my hair tests, and I was like, no, I'm fine. Like, everything's pretty good compared to how it was. I'm feeling so much better. But I wasn't listening. I thought I was, but I wasn't really truly listening. So it cleared up, but then it came back with a vengeance. It would be so bad. Then I decided to move up to Queensland. I quit my very stable, very well-paying job as a chiropractor. I'd finished my master's, and I'm like, okay, now I can work how I want to. I can create something for these people that are lost in the space between. I don't really necessarily know what that is. I'm I don't know anyone that's doing something that I would want to do. So I'm just going to make this up as I go. And I'm going to do what I know has worked well for me and what's worked with patients so far. And I'm just going to figure it out. Also, at the same time, I decided to write a book. The opportunity to write a book came about. So I was like, okay, let's do that. And also, let's move states. So again, saying it all out loud, I'm like, okay, that's a fair amount of stress. Moved up here. Again, looking back at photos, I'm thinking, oh, yeah, I probably gained some weight there. And also, my skin was not nice. My face was very puffy. And I was working very, very long days. There was a point, the housemates that I was living with at the time, one of them, who's one of my very good friends, shout out Carly, if you're listening, I know you do. She is a self-proclaimed chocoholic. Anyone who knows her knows how much she loves chocolate. And I'd be like, oh, yeah, you're addicted to chocolate. But it wasn't until I lived with her that I realized, I'm like, oh, this actually isn't like a joke. This is actually, it really does feel like you're addicted to it. And one of our other housemates loves some attention from women. And we jokingly were saying that it was an addiction. So we all, for the month of April, because it was around Easter time, I remember, we're like, okay, you have to give up this addiction for 30 days. So she had to give up chocolate. The other housemate had to give up sex and attention from women. And I, as boring as it sounds, had to give up working past 5 p.m. And that was so hard for me. I was working until 1 a.m. in the morning, trying to write my book, doing patient follow-up appointments, setting up the website, trying to figure out how to monetize, trying to figure out what the hell I was doing, learning. I was also studying functional medicine at the time. And it was, I'm thinking back, it was not a fun time to be in my body. But I just thrown all of this on my plate and I'm like, you know what, you can do it, because I'd normalized the level of stress that I was under and the pump that I was under. It was almost like this addiction, which it was. And it's so funny to be like, oh, my addiction was so boring, it's work. But it is a real thing. So if you are someone that can't sit still without thinking about work, or you feel like you always have to fill your day, have a think about whether maybe that's a healthy relationship with what you're doing, because mine certainly was not. And my body was telling me through all my symptoms, puffiness, weight gain, acne, even though all my blood tests were normal, my body was telling me something. So then I was writing my book. Just as my book was coming out, I remember having some of the most painful acne that I have experienced, blood-filled. I'd never had blood-filled cysts underneath the skin that I just wanted to, I got a pin. I know if there's any dermatologists or skincare people listening to this that do facials, you're probably having a fit right now. But I would get a pin to pierce it so then I could just pop all of the blood out. There was no pus, it was just blood. And I was like, this is really not good. And again, who the hell am I to release this book that is literally called What's My Body Telling Me? And I'm telling everyone that the best thing you can do is listen to your body. And my skin fucking looks like this. I look in the mirror and I feel disgusted. Disgust is the word that comes straight away. And I had done so much internal healing, the somatics, the kinesiology, the retreats, the journeys of different kinds. And I'd gotten to a lot of different stuff. I'd had some realizations of some traumas that happened when I was younger, like releasing such big personal things. And I'm like, okay, well, when the hell is this going to change? When is this going to change? Okay, well, maybe, okay, I'm going to try the thing where you just love yourself, right? I'm just going to love the thing. I'm going to love the symptom. And you're probably listening to this rolling your eyes because you've probably tried it. So I would look in the mirror and I would look at it and I'd be like, I love you. I know you're helping me. You're beautiful. I love you. Like saying all of these things and sometimes just not even saying anything and just looking at myself in the eyes and eye gazing for like 10 minutes. And I'd do it. I did it for a month, I remember, and it was excruciating in the beginning. And yeah, it was helpful to a degree, but I didn't believe it. There was no like, oh, but it doesn't matter what your skin is. I love you. And then I started listening to the skin. I'm like, okay, well, if I sit here and I talk to my skin like it was another person and I go, what is it you'd like to let me know? Like, let's just have a conversation with the skin. And I remember one day I was sitting in the sun in the morning, and it was like, I'm irritated. I'm like, yeah, I fucking know you're irritated. I feel like I want to rip my skin off. I just want to rip everything off my back. I want to rip everything off my face. I just want to rip it all off. I feel so uncomfortable in my skin. It's irritating. And then I thought, okay, well, what in my life is irritating me? What's irritating in my life? And I looked at that and I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. How could I possibly change that? So then I started to look at it a different way. But the biggest thing that I noticed gave me a change wasn't loving what was going on with me at that time. It was making loving decisions towards myself. So you might be someone that's like, oh, I just have to like love my endometriosis, or love my body for giving me this, love my skin for this, love my headaches, blah, 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 right? Like, yeah. I really freaking don't. And that's okay. That's honest. That's truthful. You want to be truthful with your body. But then I thought, okay, well, how can I show myself love in other areas of my life? Let's just park the skin thing. We've tried freaking everything. We've tried the detoxes. We've tried the supplements. We've tried the skincare. We've tried the medication. Actually, on that, I did try spironolactone for, it was a day. I took one and I just couldn't. I couldn't do it, which isn't to say you don't, but it's just I knew I couldn't. I'm like, this is not addressing why I have the issue. And spironolactone is a synthetic vitamin A. It's actually a blood pressure medication, so it changes your fluid retention, which actually impacts your testosterone levels, because testosterone is largely converted and created in your adrenal glands, and your adrenal glands help control the fluid balance in your kidneys. So I was like, no, I just don't think that's the answer. So then coming back to, okay, what can I do that loves myself? But what I actually did, and this is what I do with a lot of patients, and I'd heard about it, I'd seen it, I'd sort of tried it, but it wasn't until I actually started living it that it made a difference. Go figure, right? Nada. But I was like, okay, I need to connect to the version of me that I want to be. Are you feeling drained no matter how much you rest? Noticing that hair's falling out in the shower, or dry skin that just won't hydrate? Or maybe you're struggling with your weight no matter how much you try. And you've been to the doctor, they've ran the tests, and they said that everything looks normal, but everything feels anything but. These are all ways that your body might be whispering or shouting for support. If any of that sounds familiar, our fatigue symptom series is a beautiful place to start listening differently. We run symptom series every few months using our Female Fundamentals framework, breaking symptoms down through a medical, functional, and energetic lens, so you can finally understand what your body is actually telling you. This August, we're focusing on fatigue, but not just in the I'm tired kind of way. This is for the women who feel like their body is slowing down, their mind is foggy, and their spark is gone. It kicks off with a live group call with me where we tune in to the version of you that you want to become. Then you'll receive simple, bite-sized tools like a boundaries self-hypnosis and IFS guided explorations to rewire your actions that keep burning you out. Then you'll find that you'll get a symptom decoder to help you navigate common conditions like hypothyroidism, iron deficiency, sleep apnea, and more, plus tools to know how to support your fundamentals. This isn't just about taking a stab in the dark and hoping for the best. It's listening to your body and giving it what it needs without the bias. We wrap up with a live Q&A where you can bring your questions, your story, and get real answers in real time. And you get it all for just $99. We start in August. You can join now via our website link in the show notes. Remember, your fatigue isn't a sign you're broken. It's your body's way of talking to you. It's time to listen in a different way. And I need to start acting like her now in little tiny things, the tiniest of tiny things. Not like, oh my gosh, the version of me that I am is like a millionaire and I've got like all these kids and beautiful partner and all the things that you want and you have all the freedom of time and you're just amazing. Everyone thinks you're amazing, all the things. It wasn't that. It was, okay, what is this version of me? And I call her alive Anthea. And that I can feel her. I can feel her internally. And I go, okay, how can I just make decisions that help me feel alive? And I just go, okay, what's the more alive decision in this situation? So it would be something as simple as, well, a friend goes, where do you want to go for dinner when you're going out for dinner? And they might be like, oh, we can go to Italian or Mexican, and we can go here. And I'd be like, oh, I don't really care. I don't mind. And sometimes that's true. But sometimes if I actually just like sit there and think, I go, oh, what would feel more alive? Oh, I would really love Mexican. I would love to go there. The atmosphere is there. I feel like I'm being drawn there. Let's go there. Okay, great. That's a more alive decision. It could be, oh, I'm really thirsty. I would really love that water to be sparkling water, not still water. Okay, I'm going to drink sparkling water. That's more alive. So it's the tiny, tiny decisions. But then I started to make bigger decisions. And there's an episode of the podcast that I've recorded with a lovely woman out of Ireland who had psoriasis. And she had psoriasis covering 90% of her body, and a lot of it was to do with boundaries and cutting out alcohol and all the things. It's a beautiful story. If you have skin issues, go and listen to that one as well. But on that episode, I realized live, oh my gosh, I've just said yes to something that I actually don't want to. It's not an alive decision for me. I've said yes because I think that if I do that opportunity, then it's going to build onto other opportunities. And also they'll think this of me. They'll think highly of me. I'll be able to help them. But really internally in my body, I was like, I really don't want to do it. There's no real excuse for me not to. I do have the time and space to do it. I can create it. I put in different parameters. I was like, I'll come if like you pay for my flights. I'll come if we can do it like this. I'll come if, and they accommodated everything. And I still was like, shit. I was hoping they'd say, no, I can't do that. Then I'd have a reason not to do it. Have you ever had that experience? And I realized on this podcast call, like, oh my gosh, I need to call them and say I can't do it. And I need to go back on my word, which I don't like because I'm trying to be integrous and this just is terrible. But actually what would be out of integrity is going when I don't want to. So I need to call her and let her know, what am I going to say? What's the reason that I'm going to give her? And I remember talking to my friends. I remember ChatGPTing, like, what's the best thing I can say? And of course I call her and she doesn't answer straight away. And I G'd myself up to say it. And I was like, oh, okay. And then she called back. And I just said, look, I don't necessarily have a logical reason why. I am so thankful that you have accommodated everything for me. I would love to speak to all of these women, but there is just something inside me that is saying, no, don't do it. And I just have to honor that and trust it. And I'm so sorry that I can't give you like a logical reason. And I don't want to stuff you around. I can help in some way to find another speaker, but I just can't do it. And I was like, oh, instantly I felt so much better. So there's little things that can come about, like what feels more alive, where am I going for dinner, what would feel good in my body. Am I saying no to those things I actually don't want to do, those shoulds that come up? And I just started making different decisions on what would feel more alive. Like, oh, watching this show on TV would feel more alive than this one. Doing this today would feel more alive than doing that. So I just started to use that as my guiding intention and GPS. What would feel more alive? Because also I was in the loop of, well, go after the thing, achieve the thing. Okay, you've done that. You celebrate for what? How long? Maybe a day. Can you even feel the celebration? Can you feel proud of yourself? That's another thing. But then it's like, okay, what's the next thing? So I was in that cycle and loop. I was like, you know what feels alive? I actually want to feel alive when I'm living. I would really love that. That's actually the feeling that I want and that I crave. And it doesn't matter what else is going on in my world, or if you haven't achieved certain things or goals that you want, or your life doesn't look exactly how it wants to. I just want to feel alive, and that's what I'm going to do. So that's what I started to do. And what happened? My skin is the best it's ever been, and I never think, oh, this is just a fluke that my skin's like this now. That has changed. And it took, 2018 to 2025, 7 years. And all the medical tests, trying all of the different things, trying all of the functional things, trying all the energetic things. And they all help to some degree. They were not a waste of time or money by any means. I don't think of them as that. But ultimately, what I come back to is I have to listen to my body and do the things it wants to do the things that make it feel alive. Because if we think on an energetic perspective when we're talking about our skin, and what I alluded to at the very beginning, like remember this point where I would have my parents asking me different questions at all their hours of the day, answering emails at different times, saying yes to stuff that I didn't really want to do, hanging around people that I didn't really vibe with. They were great, but I wasn't being lit up by. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, what I started to do was just do things that make me feel alive. I didn't necessarily think of myself as a people pleaser or doing things that I should have done. But it was just like, okay, lean into that. What do you want to feel? You want to feel alive and you deserve to feel alive. It's like, yeah, that just makes so much sense. So when I did that, inherently my boundaries got stronger because my GPS or my rule for making decisions swapped. It wasn't, well, what's going to keep the peace or what's going to be the most comfortable or what should you do or what will happen if you say yes to this? Is that going to lead to this, this, this? We don't know that. We never know. And also you don't want to be making decisions on that. We feel that. Like when someone says yes to do something with us and it's like, you don't actually really want to be here. You're wanting to get something from me, right? We know that feeling. But also you probably know that you do that sometimes too. So when I changed and stopped and went, okay, I'm just going to do the things that make me feel alive just for the sake of doing it, everything changed with my skin. And on top of that, I know sunlight and balancing my metabolism fundamental and my nervous system fundamental are the two main things that have supported my skin. For nutrient-wise, yes, I prioritize protein. Yes, I'm avoiding having carbs by themselves, but I'm not perfect. The other day, I went out to a comedy show with my friends and we're eating Maltesers and lollies. I'm not strict. I was strict. It didn't help me. It made me more stressed. I felt less alive. So my decision, my goalpost for my decision, should I say, is what feels alive in my body. Sometimes what feels alive is saying no to the chocolate. I just don't feel like it. I don't want it. Sometimes it's like, oh, like this would be fun. This is so amazing. This is great. So it's just thinking about what feels alive in your body. And that's a great way to connect into yourself. Because when you do that, you're automatically setting a boundary, but it's from a place of love and connection. It's not from a place of, well, I have to set a boundary and people better not cross it and this and this and this, like very defensive. It's a very offensive boundary and one where you're like, yeah, I just like, that's not something that I even entertain. I'm over here. I'm playing my own game. These people aren't even interacting with me anymore. Less and less and less those things are coming in. Don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. But when I notice my skin flare up, I'm like, okay, what have I been doing that doesn't make me feel alive? I've been doing that for too long. Okay, I need to change that. So if you are noticing that you have hormonal acne, yes, from a physiological standpoint, higher testosterone. Why that might be happening? Medically, very, very, very rarely you can have growths on your brain, liver, ovaries, adrenal glands. Very rarely. It's always good to go get checked. If they do diagnose you with polycystic ovarian syndrome, that is not the end game. They didn't diagnose me. I did have some of the markers, but I didn't have all of them. But it's not the end game. It doesn't tell you what to do. It just gives you a label. We need to look under. We need to look at the fundamentals. And this goes for polycystic ovarian syndrome, hormonal acne. It goes for every chronic condition that you have medication just to manage, but not actually to address. This is the stuff that you address. Your nervous system, metabolism, nutrients, and blood sugars. If you're like, I don't even know where to start. I've heard of the glucose goddess. I've read your book. What about the fasting? What about somatic exercises? There's so much information. This is where and why I've created the body-led experience. One, because there's no shortage of information coming in. There's going to be more and more and more. The only thing that is going to help you with that I believe, is being able to have inner discernment and use your body to help you make decisions. Because if you're not using your body to make decisions, your body is going to tell you in symptoms. So first, it's energetics, connecting to your body, trusting your body and taking action out of alignment with that. And then also understanding, okay, how do I actually just simply care for each of these fundamentals in my day? What are the tools and resources so I don't have to go everywhere to find them and I'm being bombarded with all this information that actually a lot of it, don't worry about, just focus on the fundamentals and see how your symptoms change. Then that is exactly why I created the Body Led Experience, and it is launching the first week of September. I am so excited. It's community focused. There's an app. It has all the things to just help you ground into your body and know what to do when, one, you have symptoms and you don't have a diagnosis, or two, you have a diagnosis but no one has told you why or what to do about it. So if you are feeling like that and you feel like you're alone, perhaps, come and join the Body Led Experience. You can join it at any time. It is launching in September, and I'm so excited to have you in there if that is how you're feeling, because you are not alone. I have been through it all. I have studied it all. I have, well, maybe not at all. That's a lot. That's a bit extreme. I haven't studied everything, but I've learnt to a point that helps me go, you know what? The body is amazing. The body knows what to do. We just have to give it these simple tools and just forget about the rest and just focus on this simply, because your body is not another full-time job. It is the thing that helps you feel alive in your life. It's not the thing that's another job for you to do, which drains you even more. It's the thing that makes you feel alive. So I'm going to leave you on that. I will see you in the Body Led Experience. Otherwise, I will see you next on the next episode of What's My Body Telling Me? If this episode resonated and you feel like you're stuck in the space between symptoms and solutions, you're not alone. I've been there too, and that's why I created all of this. From the book, if you're just starting to listen, or the test if you want clarity your bloods couldn't give you, or the Body Led Experience if you've tried doing it all and still feel flat. Well, sometimes you need something specific, like one of our symptom series for a deep dive support on topics like fatigue and menopause. So wherever you start, just know your body's already guiding you. Share this with someone who needs it, and don't forget to follow and rate the show. Please remember, this episode is for educational purposes only. Always consult a qualified health practitioner before making any medical decisions. Every body is different, and so is every healing journey.